Hello, welcome, and thank you, Jackie, for being here. So Jackie is finishing up my 90-day program, and Jackie and I go way back.
We do. We go way back.
Yeah. So I'm just honored that I could help you on this journey. And I think as you discovered too, it was about way more than weight loss, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so let's kind of start. Where were you before the program? Like, why did you reach out to me? What were some of your struggles?
Honestly, one of my big struggles has always been like fatigue and just not having energy to keep up through the day. I would feel tired about 2 o'clock in the afternoon and, need like a little power nap. And after having two children, I had gained some pounds that I wanted to get rid of. And I really didn't know how to go about that on my own. I feel like you need somebody in your corner to kind of push you along. And I knew you were that person because you're very good at being a motivator and, actually just being, supportive in a sense of like, do your best, but I don't want it to be hard for you. And I think that's a big deal when you're trying to like lose weight and try and, you know, to meet your goals because on our own we can be very hard on ourselves.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and a few times like I thought to myself, oh no, like I'm gonna fall off the wagon, but I didn't. And then I thought, nope, Lindsay's like, no, don't make this hard. And I just kept putting that in my head, like, don't make this hard for yourself. So
Good, good. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, and I will say too, I've adjusted things a little bit this time, specifically
yeah,
for you, because yes, I've known you for a while, but while we haven't we've kept in touch, like we know
yeah,
what's happening in our lives, but I can just tell, I think you have a lot going on. And so,
yeah,
so one of the biggest things for me going into it and to help you was that, yeah, I didn't want to add any more stress, right? And I think that's
right.
where so many diet programs and that type of thing, it's like
Yes,
one more stressful thing in our already
right,
stressful lives, and it shouldn't be that way because then you're definitely not going to see the results, or you might get results, but they're probably not going to stick around.
right. And I
Yeah.
think the big thing too for me is I'm not a gym goer. Like, there's all this, well, you should get a gym membership. But in all honesty, I have two small children. I'm involved with cheer. I'm helping coach cheer. We're running all the time. I don't really have time for the gym and as people say, oh, you make time, but I feel like that's also hard because I'm, as you know, a nurse and our jobs
Mhm.
really do consume a lot of our life as well.
Yeah.
And I take
Yeah.
call. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
And you're
very
on your
hard.
feet, you're on
Yeah,
your feet a lot during the day
all day.
right? Because it's not about just going to the gym all the time too, like we've
Right.
discussed. It's just about moving your body, in general. So I think
Exactly.
like for you, the big focus was stress and,
Yes.
the nutrition piece as well, which
Oh, yeah.
yeah, which you've had some amazing results. So let's talk about that.
Mhm.
So, so yeah, so how did the program help you? Numbers wise, but all the other wins that we've talked about throughout the
Yeah.
way too.
I think the major win for me is like, as you know, being in healthcare, we think we know about what's good for us and what's not good for us. But in reality, that's not really true. We don't really learn about that. So, um, my biggest win, I think, is just being able to look at a food and their label and say, you know what? I'm not buying this. This has this, this, and this in it, and it's not going to be good for me. And I realized while I was eating some of those foods previous to me being on the program,
Mhm.
I felt bad after eating. And I knew that wasn't normal. You're not supposed to feel bad after you eat foods. So um,
Yes.
I feel like that's been a big win. I've overcome like that midday feeling fatigued. I can get through the day and not take a nap.
Yeah.
So that's a big win. Also knowing that being in a stressful life with, trying to raise kids, trying to work, that I was able to actually do this and not feel stressed. It was a good thing. At first I kind of did do the whole, oh, I can only eat chicken and vegetables, but in all reality, you know, when you help us learn what we also can eat, you don't feel so restricted either.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's huge. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And I mean, the energy one is one that comes up with so many people.
Oh
That's
yeah.
kind of typical, and we think it's normal, that we're supposed to have these big crashes at the end of the day, or I
Yeah.
mean, in the middle of the day. And so yeah, so that's definitely a big one. I know your cycles have gotten
Yes.
better,
Yes, they
still
have.
not ideal, obviously, because it's only been three
Right.
months, but you have mentioned that those have gotten better as well.
Yeah. The cramping and the discomfort I normally had, I
Mm.
wasn't having. Like I would depend on ibuprofen probably daily, and I may now only take it once during the whole, 5, 6 days of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, that's in, 3 months time. So can you
Yeah.
imagine, months down the road?
Right.
Um, I know too, you've dealt with asthma um
Yes.
for a while. And I know you mentioned at some point that you were like, oh, I'm not using like my Flonase as much, or, just kind of
Yeah.
feeling better there
Yeah.
too.
That was actually a surprising change, because I am a severe asthmatic. So, I depend on my inhalers and my nasal sprays quite a bit. And I just wasn't taking the nasal spray. And then when you mentioned allergies, I was like, oh, I really have not been congested. So,
Yeah.
and then I hadn't been using my inhaler either, which is amazing because it's been humid and hot. And typically I would definitely need it during these times.
Mhm.
So that really makes me wonder what exact food was making me feel that way.
Exactly. Exactly. Or just a combination of things. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
definitely. Um, and then, you've mentioned your clothes have fit better. So do you want to
Yeah.
talk a little bit about the numbers, maybe like inches wise that
Yeah.
you've lost, pounds, that type of thing?
Yeah. So I started out, I was about 149.5, which is surprising to me because when I had my daughter, I weighed 155. So I was not far off from being my 9-month pregnancy weight, which
Hmm.
for me is, as you know, not normal because I've always kind of been in a smaller frame, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but then when I started doing the program, I definitely within like the first 3 weeks noticed pounds coming off very easily. And so now today I'm actually at 135. So I'm pretty proud of that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I will say you're like five, what?
I'm 5'2".
Two. Okay, yeah. So
5'2".
yeah,
Yeah.
I knew you were right around my height. So yeah, so
Yeah.
that's good. And inches, I
Yeah.
know you've lost inches like
Yeah.
everywhere basically.
In my waist, I was measuring probably about, I think it was, yeah, 38.5. And then the last time I measured, I was around 34 inches. So, and that actually has been really a really exciting thing, to be honest with you, because feeling tight in your clothes is not a good feeling. And so
Yeah.
now I feel like more confident that I even actually, for the first time in probably since I've had my kids, I did put on a bikini yesterday.
Yay, that's a
Mm. Yeah,
win.
yeah. And I was actually
Yes.
like,
Oh my
okay, not
gosh.
too bad, not too bad.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
that's kind of exciting too.
Yeah.
Um, Also, I was thinking your thighs, I at work was wearing medium scrubs and I usually typically would wear smalls in the past. And so my thighs at the beginning were, I think, 22 inches and I went down to 20.5.
Yeah.
And honestly, I can tell a big difference in the way that my pants fit.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, pretty,
Yes.
pretty
Ah,
excited about those
good,
things.
good stuff. And I will say, I mean, when you reached out to me, I know like your focus was weight loss, but
Yeah.
that's why we talk about all those other things, right? The
Yeah.
energy and your cycles and everything too. And then yes, the rest, the weight loss happened, the the loss of inches
Right.
happen, clothes fitting better, but I love celebrating all that other stuff first too. So thank you
Yeah,
for
I agree. I think we focus on weight a lot, but then like when I started to focus on, the way I was feeling and losing the inches, like, I mean, you don't realize like inches, that's a lot of it, really.
hmm
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, weight is something, but the inches coming off and your clothes fitting differently is
It's
definitely
yeah.
exciting. And
Yeah.
also the energy level, I would be like zooming and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. Crazy that food
Awesome.
makes us feel that way, but
Yeah, yeah. And the stress, right? We talked about
yes,
just simple ways for you because you are busy. You're a caregiver, you're a caretaker, right? You've got,
yeah,
the nursing in you and then the mom
yeah,
and so yeah, just reducing stress so that you
right.
can, then do all the other things and feel better
Yeah,
and your body can finally say, "Oh yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing."
this
So,
is what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. And I'm
yeah.
just kind of one of those anxious, stressed people anyway, normally in life. Like if I don't have something to stress about, I find something. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's been nice to know that like, at least I can have some control over like partially that, like by
Yeah.
eating better and,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So
Yeah.
for anybody that is on the fence and maybe trying to decide to do something like this, what is something that you would tell them?
I would say do it because I sat on the fence for about a year because I
Mhm.
wasn't sure that I had the willpower because honestly, this program is about having willpower. You have to be strong and trust the process. And so for me, I know I can be strong and I know I have willpower. And finally, I was just like, you know what? I want to do better this summer. I want to look better this summer. I want to feel better this summer. So
Mhm.
that's why I decided to do it. And it's been actually not as hard. Like I was nervous it would be hard, but with your support and the way you do things, it's amazing how actually easy it was. And you're
Mhm.
very available to, people to help them through,
Yeah.
um, which is really great because honestly, like I couldn't have done it without you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, and that willpower piece, I feel like that can only get you so far, right? So even though you
Yeah.
say like, you need the willpower, but you
Yeah.
need maybe some motivation and some strength to get going. But then I feel like once you start learning all these things,
Yeah.
right? That's where like the willpower kind of goes out the door because you're like
Right.
actually realizing I can do this. I don't need to
Yeah.
power through it anymore and just,
Yeah.
nose to the
It just
grindstone.
changes.
And yeah, like you can
Yeah.
actually just do it and make it part of who you are in your life.
Right. And there's things
Yeah.
that you learn, like, that are good to pick up at the store. Like now, like I know like certain things that have been working for me. So I'm not spending time reading ingredients on the
hmm
packages, while I'm going through the store. I'm able to say, oh, I know this is a good product. I can pick this up. I like this and I'm going to eat it.
Yeah.
Which is also helpful. I think you share that. I've also obviously done some of your recipes and they've been good. And I think all that's helpful. It's just
Awesome.
like you said, it's a mindset and you have to change that.
Yeah. Just take
So,
that first step, right?
yes, the first step. And honestly, the first few weeks you feel like it's going to be really hard. Like the third and fourth week, I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to do this? But I stuck with it and I'm glad I did because like
Yeah.
I proved to myself too that, obviously we can all do hard things if we try. So,
Yes, yes. Good conversation. Thank you for
yay.
sharing. I
Yeah,
really, really appreciate that. And like I said, I'm honored that I was able to be on this journey with you. So thank you so much.
same. Yes, thank you. It's been really good. And honestly, I'm so happy of, how far I came. And I plan on just keeping this going, living this
Yeah.
life, because I
Yeah.
think that it's what's best, for me. And I'm hopeful. My kids are little, but I hope to try and, change some of their habits as well. They're
Exactly.
pretty picky eaters, so it may be a little tough, but I definitely want to, ingrain this in them as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's super important too. So, yeah, thank you
Yeah,
for sharing.
of course.